Hello, I'm Alan, and welcome to today's edition of Alan's Cycling Adventures. Well, we are about to reach our fourth rest day. We are cycling to Champaign, Illinois today, and tomorrow is rest day number 4. If you enjoy today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or ideas for future editions of Alan's Cycling Adventures, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Well, without further ado, let's ride. So today we rode from Springfield, Illinois to Champaign, Illinois, which of course is exciting because it is our fourth rest day tomorrow. We've got one more rest day to go, and then we finish this trip up. It's hard to believe that there are only 15 more riding days to go. And one of those riding days is kind of a warm-up. We are, on the very last day, we're riding like 19 miles from the hotel to the beach. And that's going to feel like, nothing. Like, that's a short warm-up ride. But anyway, yeah, this trip is getting close to being over. My group departed at 7:05 a.m. this morning. In terms of the weather, according to Strava, the weather was cloudy, 69 degrees Fahrenheit with a feels-like temperature of 71 degrees Fahrenheit. The humidity was 88% at the start, and the wind was 5.5 miles per hour from the south-southeast. In terms of the length of today's ride, it was 91.29 miles. I had an average moving speed of 15.2 miles per hour and a maximum speed of 29.9 miles per hour. My total moving time was 6 hours, 1 minute, and 24 seconds, and my elapsed time was 7 hours, 18 minutes, and 3 seconds. My average heart rate today was 115 beats per minute, and my maximum heart rate was 130 beats per minute. According to Garmin and Strava, I burned 1,791 calories. Take that with a grain of salt. And my average cadence was 61 RPM with a maximum cadence of 101 RPM. In terms of elevation gain, according to Strava's map data, we gained 1,421 feet. And according to Garmin's barometric data, we gained 1,722 feet. I had a total of 20,919 pedal strokes and burned and had an average power output of 91 watts. In terms of today's route, we started out on local roads and country roads for quite a while until we got to Route 48, which we took to Route 32, and then from there we got back onto the local roads. In terms of what towns we rode through, the entire ride was in Illinois. We started out, of course, in Springfield and rode into Rochester, Illinois, not New York, Buckhart, Roby, Bolivia, Illinois, not the country, Mount Auburn, Blackland, Decatur, Oriana, Argenta, Newburgh, Cisco, Amenia, Monticello, again, Illinois, Whiteheath, Seymour, Bondville, Staley, and finally we made our way into Champaign. The arrival in Champaign was kind of fun for a couple of reasons. The planned reason why it was fun was because our chief mechanic, Peyton, is from Champaign originally, and he used to work at Champaign Cycles, the bike shop in town. And so every year the route goes past Champaign Cycles, and Peyton's entire extended family comes out to greet us, and they have popsicles and water, and it was a lot of fun. The other reason why that ending was fun is also why I'm going to probably get kicked out of the solitary cycling group in Facebook. Obviously, I'm kidding. I don't think they're going to kick me out. But that last 15 miles or so, most of our group had formed a peloton at the beginning, which of course was the 7:30 group, not the 7 a.m. group that I'm a part of. But they did start en masse, and they stayed that way throughout the entire ride. Well, towards the end, I was trying to stay ahead of them, and I was doing so by trying to leave the sag stops as quickly as possible. And so the interesting thing was, as I was coming up on about 15-ish miles to go, I see this huge peloton coming up on me from behind. So I start to slow up a bit, give them ample opportunity to pass me. And as they approach, some in the group yelled to me, "Hey, Alan, jump on!" And at first I balked at it and said, "No, I'll never be able to keep up with you guys." And they encouraged me to at least try. And so I did. I hung with them for the entire end of the trip. You'll see that that first part of it, I was drafting off of them, which was kind of cool. It was my first time really drafting. We had a bunch of people, and so you didn't have to be necessarily right up on the wheel of the person in front of you in order to gain some aerodynamic advantage. And so that was kind of fun. I'm looking down at my cycle computer and I'm going like 18 miles an hour and not pedaling all that hard, and every so often having to tap the brakes to keep from going into the person in front of me. So that was an interesting experience. As I mentioned previously, tomorrow is a rest day. However, the day after, we are leaving Champaign for Crawfordsville, Indiana. Yes, that's right. Another state line crossing, another new state to ride into. And for the trip to Crawfordsville, we will be riding approximately 80.5 miles and having an elevation gain of 1,682 feet. By the way, one observation that I have made on this trip, and I apologize if I have already shared this with you. I don't think I have. But I have come to the belief that cows are planning an overthrow of our country. As evidence of that, every time we rode up on other animals, like horses, for example, horses could care less what you're doing. They just go about their business. They keep doing whatever it was they're doing before you got there and continue doing it after you leave. Cows, on the other hand, are a curious bunch. And by that, I mean that as you come up on them, they're doing whatever it is they're doing. And as soon as they hear you approaching, they stop what they're doing and they stand there and stare at you. And I think what's going on is they're plotting the overthrow of our country. And then, they hear you coming and they're like, "Oh, shh, Mabel, stop talking. Don't let them hear this. Let's watch them, and we'll pick up where we left off once they leave." And they just drop what they're doing and they stand there and stare at you. Doesn't matter how old they are. We've come across fields of cattle where, there's a bunch of adult cattle and a couple of babies, and even the babies stop what they're doing and stare at you. It's actually kind of funny and fun to watch. By the way, pretty soon here, I am coming up on that point in the ride where that Peloton passed me and I jumped on. It was kind of fun. It was a relatively new experience for me. By the way, here they are. Like I said, it was a relatively new experience for me because I do most of my riding by myself. And so it was interesting to experience how much teamwork like this makes a difference. Don't get me wrong, I was working hard to keep up with them, but I would have been working much harder to maintain the speed I was going had it not been for the rest of the group around me. By the way, and as a result of this Peloton, I did not get to stop for a sandwich or chocolate milk towards the end of the ride, which was a bit of a bummer, but it was well worth it because this was a pretty cool experience. In a little bit, you will see us leaving the bike shop. We stopped at this bike shop where Peyton used to work, and they had a nice little welcome reception for us. But when we left the bike shop, the person who had been leading out the group, her cycle computer died. And so I ended up leading out the group, which was kind of a cool experience. Not something that someone who's not all that fast, such as myself, gets to do very often. And here I am leading the group. So all in all, that was a really cool experience. And even though I didn't have my sandwich, I'm glad I got to experience it. That's all for now.
All right, that was fun, especially the ending. They are so gonna kick me out of solitary cycling on Facebook. Anyway, tomorrow is a rest day, and so I'll see you again in a couple of days. And until next time, stay safe out there.